Have you ever noticed how your mind keeps replaying moments that no longer exist? You lie awake, questioning every choice, every word, every outcome, as if thinking harder will finally make life make sense. But what if I told you that the moment you stop trying to control life, life begins to work for you? When you finally stop overthinking, something extraordinary happens. Your breath deepens, your heart softens, and suddenly the noise inside your head quiets enough for you to hear the whisper of peace. In that stillness, you realize life was never the problem. Your attachment to every what if was. So today, let's explore how to stop overthinking, let go, and allow life to flow naturally, the way it was always meant to. 1. The river never questions its path. A river doesn't stop at every rock and wonder if it's taking the right turn. It doesn't pause to question whether it should have flowed left instead of right. It simply moves, freely, gracefully, with complete trust in its own current. This is one of the most beautiful reflections of life through the lens of Buddhism. The river teaches us the art of non-resistance, the ability to move forward without trying to control everything that happens along the way. When you overthink, it's as if you're trying to swim against your own current. You push and struggle, believing that if you think enough, plan enough, or worry enough, you can somehow reshape the flow of life itself. But life, like the river, already knows where it's going. Every twist, every turn, every calm pool and rushing fall, all of it is part of a natural rhythm that doesn't need your interference to be perfect. Buddhism teaches that suffering often begins when we resist what is. Overthinking is resistance in disguise. It's the mind's desperate attempt to create certainty in an uncertain world. But the truth is, no amount of thinking can ever change what is meant to happen. It can only rob you of peace in the present moment. The river doesn't waste its strength trying to predict what lies around the next bend. It simply flows, trusting that each moment will guide it exactly where it needs to be. When you begin to live this way, trusting life instead of fighting it, something incredible happens. Your energy, once scattered across 1,000 imagined problems, returns to you. The mental noise quiets. You stop replaying conversations, regretting past choices, and fearing future ones. You realize that life doesn't need your constant supervision. It needs your faith. You don't have to control everything to be safe. You only need to align with the current and let it carry you. Being like water means being adaptable. When water meets a rock, it doesn't complain. It flows around it. When it meets a steep drop, it becomes a waterfall. When it enters stillness, it becomes a lake. In every form, it remains true to its nature. You too can learn to live this way, bending, adjusting, and transforming without losing yourself. Patience replaces panic. Acceptance replaces anxiety. The moment you stop questioning every turn and start trusting the journey, you find freedom. And in that freedom, life begins to work with you, not against you. Doors open without force. Opportunities appear when you're not chasing them. The people and experiences you need begin to find you naturally. The river never questions its path. It simply flows. When you finally learn to do the same, you discover that life was never chaotic. Only your mind was. Flow with trust, not resistance, and you'll realize that every current, even the ones that scared you, was leading you exactly where you were meant to be. 2. Thoughts are clouds, not the sky. Imagine standing in an open field, gazing up at the sky. You see clouds drifting by, some light and soft, others heavy and dark. But no matter how stormy the clouds become, they never harm the sky itself. The sky remains vast, still, and untouched. In Buddhism, this is a powerful metaphor for the human mind. Your thoughts are like those passing clouds, temporary, changing, and insubstantial. But you are not the clouds. You are the sky. The moment you forget this truth, you become trapped in overthinking. Overthinking happens when you mistake your thoughts for reality. You start to believe every fearful idea, every anxious story, every doubtful question your mind produces. But the mind is designed to think, just as clouds are designed to move. The problem is not that you have thoughts, it's that you attach to them, analyze them, and give them power they were never meant to have. You try to control them, argue with them, or push them away. And the more you fight them, the heavier they become, like storm clouds building pressure. In Buddhist mindfulness, the practice is not to suppress your thoughts, but to observe them with gentle awareness. You watch them come, and you watch them go. You understand that thoughts are just mental weather. They arise, change shape, and dissolve. You don't need to chase the good ones or run from the bad ones. You simply let them pass. This simple act of witnessing breaks the cycle of overthinking. It's like stepping out of the storm and realizing the sky was clear all along. When you start to see your thoughts as clouds, you stop identifying with them. You may notice an anxious thought like, "What if I fail?" And instead of saying, "I'm scared," you say, "A thought of fear has appeared." That small shift creates distance, and in that distance, peace arises. You are no longer drowning in thoughts. You're observing them float by. The mind begins to quiet naturally, not because it has stopped thinking, but because you have stopped reacting. Overthinking thrives on reaction. Every time you engage with a thought, question it, judge it, or believe it, you feed it energy. But when you watch it without resistance, it fades on its own. This is why meditation feels so peaceful, not because thoughts disappear, but because you stop clinging to them. You learn to rest in the stillness beneath them, the awareness that has always been there. Think of how clouds look different at sunrise and sunset, glowing pink, gold, or grey. Yet the sky never changes. Similarly, your moods, fears, and doubts may shift from day to day, but your true self, the awareness behind them, remains the same. The more you rest in that awareness, the more stable and peaceful you become. So the next time your mind starts spiraling with what-ifs and endless analysis, pause, take a breath, look up, either literally or inwardly. Remind yourself, I am not the clouds, I am the sky. Let your thoughts pass without chasing them. In that moment of letting go, you'll feel something miraculous, the peace that was always there, waiting behind the noise. Overthinking dissolves not by force, but by understanding. You are the vast sky, not the fleeting weather passing through it. 3. The illusion of control. One of the most exhausting illusions the human mind creates is the belief that if we think enough, plan enough, and anticipate enough, we can somehow control life. Overthinking is born from this illusion, the constant need to know what's coming next, to predict every possibility, and to avoid every pain before it arrives. But Buddhism gently reveals the truth. Control is an illusion, and the desire for it is the root of much of our suffering. Think about it. How many nights have you stayed awake, replaying conversations, wondering what might happen tomorrow, or regretting what you said yesterday? In those moments, your mind becomes like a hamster on a wheel, running fast, but going nowhere. You imagine that if you could only think harder, you could prevent disappointment, loss, or failure. But the truth is, no matter how much you analyze, life unfolds in its own mysterious rhythm. The Buddha called this anicca, impermanence, the universal law that everything changes, everything arises and passes away. When we overthink, we try to escape impermanence by holding on to false certainty. We want guarantees that love will last, that plans will succeed, that tomorrow will look like today. But life is not a straight line. It's a flowing river, constantly shifting. Trying to control it through thought is like trying to catch water in your hands. The tighter you grip, the faster it slips away. This is why Buddhist wisdom teaches letting go. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means surrendering the illusion that you can control what is beyond your reach. When you accept that you cannot predict or perfect every outcome, your energy returns to the present, the only place where life truly happens. You stop fighting against what is and begin flowing with it. That's when peace begins to rise naturally, like a calm lake after a storm. Imagine two people walking through a forest. One constantly looks for signs of danger, worrying about snakes, rain, or getting lost. The other walks with awareness but without fear, enjoying the sound of the leaves and the touch of the breeze. Both face the same path, but their experiences are completely different. The first suffers not because of the forest, but because of his mind. The second is free, not because life is perfect, but because he no longer tries to control it. Overthinking creates an illusion that the more you think, the safer you become. But in truth, it's the opposite. The more you try to control, the more anxious you feel. You begin to fear uncertainty instead of embracing it, yet uncertainty is not your enemy. It's the space where miracles happen. It's where growth, change, and new beginnings are born. Every transformation in your life, every blessing you've ever received, came from something you couldn't predict. The practice of mindfulness helps you see this clearly. When you sit in stillness, you notice how thoughts arise on their own. You don't choose them. They appear, stay for a while, and fade. In the same way, life moves through its own seasons. You can't force spring to arrive sooner or make the rain stop, but you can learn to dance with both sunshine and storms. Letting go of control doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you trust the process. You still take action, but without anxiety. You plan, but you don't cling. You do your best, and then you release the outcome. The great Zen masters call this effortless effort, doing without attachment, moving without fear. It is not passivity, it's wisdom in motion. When you surrender the illusion of control, something magical happens. Life starts working for you, not against you. You begin to notice synchronicities, the right people appearing at the right time, the right opportunities unfolding naturally. You stop forcing doors open and start walking through the ones that open with ease. This is not coincidence, it's harmony. So the next time your mind tries to overthink, remind yourself gently, I am not in control of the river. I am meant to flow with it. Trust that life knows more than your thoughts ever could. Every event, even the painful ones, is part of a larger design that your mind may not yet understand. When you stop trying to control everything, you finally feel free, not because life becomes predictable, but because you realize it doesn't need to be. Freedom is not found in certainty, it's found in surrender. When you release the illusion of control, the burden of overthinking dissolves, and peace, at last, begins to flow through you like a gentle, endless stream. 4. Let life breathe for you. Take a moment to notice your breath. You don't command it to move in and out. It just does. Even while you sleep, it continues faithfully. This is one of life's simplest yet most profound truths. Some of the most essential things happen perfectly without your control. Your heart beats, the earth spins, the sun rises, and none of these require your effort. Yet when it comes to your daily life, your goals, or your future, your mind tries to control every detail. It worries, plans, and pushes, as if life would stop working if you stopped thinking. But the universe has been flowing effortlessly long before your thoughts began. When Buddhism speaks of letting go, it doesn't mean doing nothing. It means allowing life to breathe for you, trusting that there is an intelligent rhythm guiding everything. When you force outcomes, you create tension both mentally and spiritually. You hold your breath, waiting for things to happen your way. But life is like breathing. When you exhale and relax, everything starts flowing again. The more you release, the more you receive. Overthinking is like holding your breath for too long. You try to hold on to every detail, every plan, every fear, every possibility. But that's when your energy starts to suffocate. You lose connection with the natural flow that moves through everything. Buddhism teaches that this flow is dharma, the natural order, the law that keeps existence in balance. Just as a tree doesn't struggle to grow and a flower doesn't rush to bloom, your life, too, unfolds at its own perfect pace. Think about how effortlessly nature functions. The moon doesn't worry about its timing. The ocean doesn't question when to rise or fall. Everything follows a rhythm, a silent intelligence that governs the movement of stars, tides, and hearts. But the human mind, filled with ego, believes it must control life to survive. It's as if we think we must remind the sun to shine or the seed to sprout. This illusion of control distances us from the peace of simply being. When you let life breathe for you, you stop fighting with time. You begin to move in harmony with what is instead of what should be. This doesn't mean giving up on goals. It means pursuing them with a calm, open mind, trusting that the right path will unfold naturally. When you are aligned with the flow of life, effort becomes graceful. Things that once felt hard start to feel lighter. Synchronicities appear, people arrive when they're needed, and answers come without force. It's as if life begins to cooperate with your peace. The Buddha called this right effort, the balance between doing and allowing. It's not laziness or passivity, but a deeper kind of intelligence. It's understanding that everything has its time and place. You still act, but your actions come from stillness, not desperation. You still move forward, but without the noise of what if or what next. The universe has always known what to do. It just needs you to stop interfering. To let life breathe for you means to stop chasing and start trusting. If something is meant for you, it will not require constant anxiety to maintain. If it's not meant for you, no amount of overthinking will make it fit. Life has a rhythm of giving and taking, rising and falling, beginning and ending. When you align with that rhythm, peace replaces panic. You begin to feel a deep sense of being carried, like a leaf floating on a stream, guided effortlessly by unseen currents. Many people think surrender is weakness, but in truth, it's the highest form of strength. It takes courage to release control. It takes wisdom to trust the unseen. The ego wants certainty. The soul wants peace. And peace comes only when you allow life to unfold naturally, like a breath moving in and out. Close your eyes for a moment and breathe deeply. Feel the air entering your lungs, effortless, natural, calm. That same intelligence that breathes you is the same force that guides your life. You don't need to push for what's already on its way. You don't need to chase what's not meant to stay. Just as your lungs fill when you stop forcing, life fills you with blessings when you stop controlling. So the next time your mind starts racing, remember your breath. It has never failed you. It moves without permission, without plan, without worry. That's how life works too. Let it breathe for you. Let it move through you. You'll find that when you stop forcing the rhythm, life plays the most beautiful melody, one that was always meant for you. Let life breathe for you, and it will carry you further than your overthinking ever could. Because when you trust the breath of life, you're no longer fighting with the current. You've become one with it, and in that unity, everything begins to flow effortlessly, just as it always should. 5. The art of letting silence speak. In the modern world, silence has become a forgotten language. We live surrounded by constant noise, not only the sounds of traffic, voices and screens, but also the endless chatter within our own minds. The moment we wake up, our thoughts begin to race. Plans, worries, memories, and fears. Our minds keep talking even when no one is around. Yet beneath all this noise, there exists a profound stillness, a silence that has the power to heal, guide, and transform. Buddhism teaches that this silence is not emptiness, it is presence. It is the voice of wisdom that only speaks when the mind finally grows quiet enough to listen. Overthinking thrives in noise. It feeds on the constant movement of thoughts, the what-ifs, the maybes, the should-haves. The mind believes that the more it thinks, the closer it gets to understanding life. But true understanding doesn't come from thinking more, it comes from thinking less. Silence is the bridge between confusion and clarity. In silence, what was once blurry becomes simple. What once felt chaotic becomes harmonious. This is why monks and meditators retreat into quiet places, not to escape life, but to hear it more clearly. When you allow silence into your life, something beautiful begins to happen. Your inner world starts to reorder itself. The thoughts that once felt urgent begin to lose their power. You start to see that not every thought deserves your attention. Not every emotion requires reaction. In that stillness, you realize that most of your suffering was created by the stories you told yourself, not by reality itself. Silence reveals truth, not through words, but through direct experience. Think of a lake disturbed by wind. The surface ripples, and you can't see your reflection clearly. But when the wind stops, the water becomes still, and the reflection returns. Your mind is that lake. Overthinking is the wind that disturbs it. Silence is the stillness that allows clarity to return. You cannot force clarity. You can only allow it to arise by becoming quiet. Buddhism calls this right mindfulness, the art of being fully aware without getting lost in mental noise. It is not about suppressing your thoughts, it's about creating space between them. That space is where peace lives. When you sit in silence, the mind will try to distract you at first. It will throw memories, plans, and doubts at you, hoping you'll react. But if you simply watch without judgment, the storm begins to calm. Slowly you enter a deeper awareness, a stillness that feels like coming home. Silence is not empty, it is full of wisdom. It is the same silence that exists before the dawn, the same pause between the waves, the same breath between words. It's the sacred pause where life renews itself. When you learn to rest in that silence, you start to feel connected to yourself, to others, and to something far greater than both. You begin to sense that life doesn't need constant mental commentary to be understood. It only needs your presence. Most of us fear silence because it confronts us with ourselves. When everything outside quiets down, you start to hear what's within, your insecurities, regrets, or pain. But this is not something to run from. It's something to embrace. Silence brings all that is unhealed to the surface, not to hurt you, but to free you. It's like cleaning a wound, uncomfortable at first, but necessary for true healing. The moment you stop running from silence, it becomes your greatest teacher. When you sit quietly and allow silence to fill the space, you might notice the rhythm of your breath, the beating of your heart, the distant sound of birds or wind. You realize that life has always been speaking to you, just not in words. Silence teaches you to feel rather than think, to sense rather than analyze. It brings you back to simplicity, to the raw experience of being alive without labels, opinions, or expectations. In silence, you begin to hear the whispers of your intuition, that gentle inner knowing that guides you when logic fails. It's the same voice that nudges you toward peace when your mind insists on conflict. It's quiet, but it's constant, and it always points toward truth. The more you honor silence, the stronger that voice becomes. Try this. Instead of reacting to everything that happens, pause. Before responding to a message, before making a decision, before judging a situation, take one deep breath and listen to the silence within. You'll find that most of the answers you were trying to think your way into already exist in that still space. Silence doesn't demand, it reveals. It doesn't push, it opens. The art of letting silence speak is the art of letting truth reveal itself naturally. When you stop trying to force understanding, life begins to explain itself. You realize that you don't need to have all the answers. You just need to be still enough to hear them when they come. The universe doesn't shout, it whispers, and its whispers are carried only through silence. So when your mind feels loud, when your thoughts spin endlessly, when life feels confusing, stop. Don't add more noise, don't overanalyze. Just sit, breathe, and listen. There's wisdom in that stillness, a kind of knowing that thinking can never reach. In silence, you reconnect with the flow of existence itself. You realize that life is not something to figure out. It's something to feel. Let silence speak for you. Let it guide your heart where words cannot. Because in the end, silence doesn't mean the absence of sound. It means the presence of peace. And when you learn to rest in that peace, you discover that everything you were chasing, clarity, calm, and meaning, was waiting for you in the quiet all along. 6. Presence is the end of overthinking. There is a simple truth that every Buddhist master has tried to teach. The mind can only suffer in time. In the past it regrets, in the future it fears, but never in the present. The present moment has no problems, only experiences. When you are fully here, right now, breathing, aware, and still, overthinking has nowhere to live. It only exists when the mind drifts away from what is into what was, or what might be. The art of ending overthinking, therefore, is not about controlling your mind. It's about returning to presence again and again until the present becomes your home. When you overthink, your awareness is hijacked by thoughts. You might be sitting in a peaceful room, but your mind is replaying arguments, imagining failures, or predicting disasters that don't exist anywhere but in thought. Your body is here, but your consciousness is lost somewhere between yesterday and tomorrow. This is the root of suffering, to live everywhere but now. Buddhism calls this samsara, the endless wandering of the mind. And liberation begins the moment you choose to come back to this breath, this sound, this heartbeat, this moment. Presence is not a concept, it's an experience. It's what you feel when you pause long enough to taste your food, when you notice sunlight through a window, when you feel water on your hands and actually pay attention. These are not small things, they are doorways. Every moment you truly live in is a doorway back to peace. The mind is always trying to make life complicated, but life itself is simple. The leaf grows, the river flows, the bird sings, everything just is. And so are you when you stop thinking about life and start being part of it. Overthinking thrives on what-if scenarios. What if I fail? What if I get hurt? What if I'm not enough? Presence destroys these illusions instantly because it roots you in reality, not imagination. In the now, there is no what if, there is only what is. You realize that most of your fears are not happening. They are only being imagined. The future exists only in your mind. The past exists only in memory. The only thing that's real is this moment, and in this moment, you are safe. You are breathing, you are alive. Buddhist monks practice walking meditation not to move slower, but to remember where they are. Every step becomes an act of awareness. The foot touches the ground, and the mind follows it. Step by step, they reconnect with the miracle of simply existing. You don't have to live in a monastery to do this. You can practice presence while washing dishes, walking to work, or talking to a friend. When you give your full attention to what you are doing, your mind quiets naturally. You stop needing to control everything because in the now, control is unnecessary. Presence feels like peace because it's free from mental time. It's the state of awareness before thought, before judgment, before labels. When you are present, you're not trying to be someone. You simply are. The burden of overthinking falls away because there's no longer anyone to defend or fix. You're not the thinker of thoughts. You're the space they appear in. You are the awareness that watches, not the noise that speaks. And when you anchor yourself in that awareness, thoughts lose their grip. Think of presence like sunlight and overthinking like fog. You don't fight the fog, you simply wait for the sun to rise, and the fog disappears on its own. Similarly, when you become aware, when you step into the light of the present, the fog of thought dissolves naturally. You don't have to silence your mind, you only have to see it clearly. Awareness itself is the silence that heals. Overthinking often disguises itself as productivity. If I think about this enough, I'll solve it. But presence shows you a deeper truth. The best solutions appear when the mind is calm, not when it's chaotic. Have you noticed how insights come when you stop trying? The answer appears while walking, showering, or watching the sunset. That's because in those moments, your mind relaxes its grip and your awareness expands. You let life flow through you instead of trying to force it. When you are present, even pain transforms. You stop adding stories to it. You no longer think, "Why me?" or "What if this never ends?" You just feel it as it is, and in that acceptance, the suffering begins to soften. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. It's the mental story we attach to pain. Presence removes that story. It allows life to be as it is, without the extra weight of thought. Presence also reconnects you with gratitude. When you truly see what's around you, you realize how much beauty you overlook while lost in your head. The warmth of a cup of tea, the laughter of a loved one, the color of the sky after rain. These are all small miracles constantly unfolding. Overthinking blinds you to them. Presence brings them back into view. You begin to live not as a thinker trying to control life, but as an observer in awe of it. Try this simple practice. When your mind starts to spiral, pause and name what's real in this moment. I am here. I am breathing. I am safe. I am alive. Feel the sensations in your body, the air on your skin, the movement of your breath. This anchors you. Slowly, the noise fades. You'll notice that even if your mind continues to produce thoughts, they pass through like distant sounds. They no longer pull you away. You start to realize that peace was never something to create. It was always here, underneath the noise. The Buddha once said, "Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment." This is not just advice, it's liberation. The more you live in the now, the less power overthinking has. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop waiting for life to happen and start experiencing it. Presence is not the end of thought, it's the beginning of awareness. And awareness is the end of suffering. When you live in the now, life no longer feels like something to survive. It feels like something sacred to witness. So, when your mind begins to wander into worry or regret, don't fight it. Just come back. To your breath, to your senses, to this exact moment. Because right here, right now, you are free. And in that freedom, overthinking disappears like a dream fading in the morning light. Presence is not only peace, it is truth itself. It's the place where life finally begins to work. Not because you've figured it out, but because you've finally decided to live it. 7. Life rewards. Surrender, not struggle. There comes a moment in every person's journey when they realize that all the struggle, all the overthinking, all the constant pushing was never the path to peace. You may have spent years trying to force things to happen your way, to control outcomes, to fix what wasn't yours to fix. You've analyzed every decision, replayed every mistake, and exhausted your mind with what-ifs. But eventually, life teaches you the truth, that peace doesn't come from control. It comes from surrender. It comes when you stop fighting with life and start trusting it. In Buddhism, surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom. It's the understanding that life is far more intelligent than your limited perception. You cannot see the full tapestry while you are still inside the thread. You only see fragments, while existence sees the whole pattern. Surrender means allowing that greater intelligence to guide you, trusting that what leaves is meant to leave, and what stays is meant to grow you. It's releasing your grip and letting the river carry you instead of exhausting yourself trying to swim against its current. When you fight against what is, you suffer. When you resist the flow of life, you create friction. Overthinking is one of the subtlest forms of resistance, the mind trying to rewrite reality, to reshape what already is. You believe that if you think enough, you can outsmart life, protect yourself from pain, or force timing to match your desires. But life doesn't work through force. It moves through flow. The flower doesn't bloom by demanding the sun to rise faster. It blooms by surrendering to the warmth when it comes. The universe is always moving toward balance. Sometimes that balance requires letting go of things you thought you needed. People, plans, identities, dreams. When you resist those changes, life feels heavy and unfair. But when you surrender, something miraculous happens. You start to see meaning in everything. Even pain begins to feel like preparation. Even endings begin to feel like beginnings in disguise. That's when you understand what the Buddha meant when he said, "The root of suffering is attachment. It is not life itself that hurts. It is our refusal to let it move as it must." Surrender doesn't mean you stop acting or caring. It means you act from peace, not panic. You take steps, but you let go of the obsession with outcomes. You show up fully in the moment, do what's right, and release what happens next. This is not passivity. This is alignment. When you are in alignment, your actions flow effortlessly because they arise from wisdom, not fear. You begin to notice that things start unfolding naturally, sometimes even miraculously, once you stop forcing them. Doors that were once locked start opening without effort because you've stopped banging on them and started listening to the quiet knock of the right one. Overthinking is a kind of inner struggle, the ego's desperate attempt to play God. It wants to design the map, predict the terrain, and control the weather. But the journey of life isn't meant to be that way. You were never meant to know every turn. You were meant to walk, to trust, to learn. Surrender is walking forward even when you can't see the whole path, with faith that each step will reveal the next. The great Zen masters often say, "Let go or be dragged." The more you cling, the more pain you create for yourself. But when you loosen your grip, the same current that once dragged you begins to carry you gently. When you stop struggling and start surrendering, your energy changes. You stop vibrating at the frequency of fear and begin resonating with peace. You start to notice beauty in uncertainty, blessings in disguise and lessons in delay. What once felt like a detour begins to feel like divine redirection. That's when life starts working for you, not against you. It's as if the universe was waiting for you to stop fighting so it could finally move things in your favor. Surrender doesn't mean you give up your dreams. It means you give up your resistance. You stop saying, "It must happen this way, at this time," and instead say, "If it's meant for me, it will come, and if not, something better will." That shift from control to trust changes everything. Suddenly your anxiety fades, your mind quiets, and your heart opens. You start living in a state of cooperation with life instead of conflict. Think about the most peaceful people you've ever met. They're not the ones who have perfect lives. They're the ones who've learned to trust life, even when it's uncertain. They've stopped demanding that everything makes sense immediately. They've allowed time, patience, and faith to reveal what struggle never could. That's what surrender gives you, the power to remain calm even when the path ahead is unclear. Surrender is not about losing. It's about realizing you never needed to fight in the first place. It's about understanding that everything meant for you cannot miss you, and everything not meant for you cannot stay. When you truly embrace this truth, overthinking loses its grip. You no longer waste energy trying to hold together what's falling apart or chase what's running away. You learn to bow gracefully to the rhythm of existence. Sometimes surrender looks like tears. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like walking away, and sometimes it looks like waiting. But no matter what form it takes, it always leads to freedom. Because in surrender, you return to your natural state, peace. You begin to live from trust rather than tension. And slowly, you realize something profound. Life has always been on your side. Even when it broke you, it was building you. Even when it took something away, it was clearing space for something greater. You were never being punished. You were being prepared. So stop fighting, stop analyzing, stop forcing, breathe, let go. Allow trust that the same force that makes stars burn and rivers flow is guiding your path too. You don't need to struggle to receive what's already written for you. When you finally surrender, the burden of overthinking melts away. You no longer carry the weight of trying to control what was never yours. You walk lighter, smile deeper, and rest in the truth that peace is not found in struggle. It's found in surrender. And it's only when you let go of trying to direct the flow that you discover the river was always carrying you home. 8. The quiet magic of trusting the process. There comes a sacred turning point in your inner journey, the moment when you stop asking, when will things start working, and begin realizing that they already are. You see, life doesn't move according to your deadlines. It unfolds according to your readiness. Everything you've been waiting for, the peace, the opportunity, the healing, arrives not when you force it, but when you trust it. Buddhism teaches that this trust is not passive belief, but a living surrender, a deep acceptance that the rhythm of existence is wiser than your plans. When you overthink, it's because you believe you must control every step to avoid pain or failure. You convince yourself that if you could just think harder, predict more, plan perfectly, you could finally relax. But life doesn't reward the tight grip. It rewards open hands. The truth is, you were never meant to figure everything out. You were meant to experience everything, to walk, to stumble, to learn, and to rise. Overthinking keeps you trapped in a maze of imagined outcomes, while trusting the process sets you free to explore the path in front of you with calm curiosity. The Buddha taught that suffering arises not from what happens, but from how we respond to it. When you overthink, you live in resistance, in constant friction against the flow of what is. You question every delay, label every challenge as failure, and lose faith in the unseen timing of things. But life, in its mysterious intelligence, is always rearranging itself for your growth. Every pause, every obstacle, every silence is part of a larger design that you cannot yet see. Trusting the process means understanding that nothing is random. Every moment, even the painful ones, is a step toward your unfolding. Imagine planting a seed. You water it, protect it, and wait. You don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing, because you trust the soil. You know that growth happens beneath the surface, quietly, invisibly. The same is true for your life. There are seasons when nothing seems to move, when your efforts feel wasted, your prayers unanswered, your dreams delayed. But even then, beneath the surface, life is working. The roots are forming. The foundation is being built in silence. The universe is aligning things in ways your mind could never plan. Overthinking digs up the seed again and again, disturbing what was meant to grow naturally. Trusting the process lets it bloom in its own time. This trust is not blind optimism. It's a deep inner knowing that life has never failed to move forward. Even when you thought you were lost, something guided you. Even when everything fell apart, something within you survived. That something, that awareness, is proof that you are being carried. The same force that breathes life into stars breathes through you, and it doesn't make mistakes. When you trust the process, you begin to live with ease. You stop rushing the seasons of your life. You understand that there's a divine order even in chaos. Some paths close because they were leading you away from your truth. Some people leave because they were only meant to be teachers, not lifelong companions. Some delays happen because your spirit needed to mature before the blessing could arrive. When you stop resisting and start trusting, peace replaces panic. You start to see purpose in every detour. Buddhism teaches the concept of patience with confidence, not the patience of waiting helplessly, but the patience of trusting deeply. It's the confidence that life knows what it's doing, even when you don't. Think of how rivers carve through stone, not by force, but by persistence. In the same way, when you live with patience and trust, your energy shapes your destiny without strain. You don't need to know how everything will work out. You just need to stay aligned with peace while it does. The mind will always try to interfere. It will whisper, "What if it never happens? What if I fail? What if I made a mistake?" But those are just echoes of fear, the ego's attempt to reclaim control. The antidote is awareness. Every time those thoughts arise, you return to the present moment and remind yourself, "I am exactly where I need to be." You breathe, you let go, and with every breath, you strengthen your trust in life's timing. Trusting the process also means forgiving yourself for the times you didn't. For the moments when you panicked, forced outcomes, or doubted your path. You were learning. You were growing into the very wisdom that now allows you to rest. Every mistake was part of the process too. The river doesn't blame itself for bending. It flows where it must, knowing that even detours lead to the ocean. When you live in trust, you notice the quiet magic of life returning. You start seeing synchronicities, small signs that remind you you're on the right path. The right person calls at the right time, an idea arrives just when you need it, or a closed door leads you to a better one. These aren't coincidences, they're confirmations that when you release control, life flows more smoothly. What you once tried to chase now finds you. And perhaps the most beautiful part of trusting the process is the freedom it brings. You no longer measure your worth by how fast things happen. You no longer chase validation or fear endings. You live fully, awake, grateful, and at peace with not knowing. You start to understand that life doesn't need to be controlled to be beautiful. It just needs to be trusted. So, take a breath. You don't need to know where the next step leads. You only need to trust that it's leading you somewhere good. The storm will pass. The answers will come. The path will clear. It always does. Let go of the need to rush your becoming. Trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Not too early, not too late, but right on time. Life is not testing you. It's teaching you. Every challenge is shaping your strength. Every pause is deepening your wisdom. And every heartbreak is refining your compassion. When you stop overthinking and start trusting, life no longer feels like a struggle. It becomes a sacred dance. You move with it, not against it. You flow with its rhythm, not its resistance. You finally see that you were never waiting for life to work. Life was waiting for you to let it. And when you do, you discover something extraordinary. Everything you once chased starts coming to you naturally. Peace arrives without effort, blessings unfold without control, and you realize that the magic was never in forcing. It was always in trusting the process. When you finally stop overthinking, a quiet miracle happens. Life begins to breathe again. The noise in your mind softens, the weight on your heart lightens, and you start to see the truth that was always hidden beneath the clutter of thoughts. Life was never against you. It was only waiting for you to stop resisting it. Every moment, every twist and turn, every person who entered and left. It was all part of a greater design, guiding you toward awareness, peace, and surrender. Overthinking made you believe that you needed to control everything to feel safe. It made you chase certainty, approval, and perfection, things that don't exist in a changing world. But Buddhism teaches that peace isn't found in the world outside you. It's found in the mind that accepts things as they are. The moment you stop fighting with life, life stops fighting you. The storm you feared was never outside. It was inside your mind. When that storm calms, the world feels lighter, kinder, and more alive than you ever remembered. Each of the lessons you've read is a doorway back to yourself, to the quiet, steady awareness that exists beyond thought. Like the river that doesn't question its path, you learn to flow. Like the sky that isn't shaken by clouds, you learn to observe. Like the breath that moves effortlessly, you learn to trust. Like the silence that speaks truth without words, you learn to listen. And like the present moment that needs no fixing, you learn to just be. Life has always been unfolding perfectly, even when you didn't understand it. The pain, the waiting, the confusion, they were all teachers in disguise. They shaped you into someone capable of peace. You didn't fail by overthinking. You simply wandered away from your center. But now you know the way back, through stillness, through trust, through surrender. When you let go of trying to make everything make sense, everything starts to make sense. The universe was never asking you to be perfect, only to be present. The answers you seek don't come from thinking more. They come from listening deeply. They rise from the stillness within you, the same stillness that connects you to all life, to the divine rhythm that breathes through everything. So, breathe deeply. Stop chasing. Stop predicting. Stop controlling. Be here, right now, where peace already exists. Watch how life starts working for you, not because you forced it, but because you finally allowed it. Trust the timing, embrace the flow, and remember, when you stop overthinking, you stop standing in your own way. The river of life has always been carrying you. All you ever needed to do was trust the current.